Vacuum in! Ravage on everyone! The black hole!
Away those tracers, you can see Dupree trying to close in, but Taz will hit the headshot.
Hello everybody and welcome to Esports Update. I'm your host Mike Kersey and I'm here to give you all the news, scores, and highlights that you may have missed in esports over the past week. And we're going to jump right into it, easily the biggest story of the week coming from the upsets at the League of Legends World Championships. In case you've missed it, this week we were sitting in the quarterfinals of the World Championships in Korea. In what has already been a world full of historic matches, almost every game played this week was an upset, starting with Korea's KT roster and China's Invictus Gaming. Invictus came fighting strong, taking aces early in the game and then dominating with team plays. But KT comes back in the third match in what might be the closest game in League's professional history. IG worked hard to defend their nexus against KT roster while sending their top laner the Shy on a solo attack for a base race. With only 2 more auto hits left for his win, the Shy just wasn't fast enough and KT roster takes IG's nexus for this insane win. KT then looks for the sweep, winning the next match, but it was Invictus who came up on top in the end after drafting late game picks and playing KT's slower paced game. This made IG the first team to take out the #1 seed from Korea at Worlds since 2014. The next match of the day pitted Europe's G2 Esports against China's #1 seed, RNG. RNG was at match point by the third game, sitting at 2-1 before G2 hit their stride. In the fourth match, G2 won all the early solo lanes with Perks starting their 5 kills, no deaths. GT continued the rally behind the mid laner, taking the ace and the Baron, which basically solidified the match win. By game 5, Perks was still continuing his killing streak, taking 3 kills while in Rome and even solo killing arguably one of the best players in the world, Uzi. After multiple team kills, G2 seemed to be in a tough spot even with the gold lead, but with Baron buff, they targeted Uzi in the final push and RNG's defense quickly fell apart after, and the third seed from Europe take out one of the favorites of the tournament, RNG. The next day we saw the North American favorites, Cloud9, battle it out against the last Korean team of the tournament, Afrika Freaks. The game started very aggressively with 4 kills in the first 5 minutes of play, and Cloud9 just continued that pace and absolutely smothered Afrika in the first game. In the second match, Afrika seemed to be waking up, just destroying Cloud9 in the early game. But Cloud9 made the comeback at the Baron, taking the team fight, winning the Baron buff, and setting their sights on the Nexus. The third game was match point for Afrika, and again they started out strong. But the comeback from Cloud9 was just jump-started by this insane Baron steal by Licorice. After taking the mid inhibitor, Cloud9 pushed for the Nexus, taking the win and a 3-0 sweep over the last remaining Korean team in the World Championship. They are the only team from North America to make it to the semifinals since the very first Worlds in 2011, and this will be the first year ever that a Korean team has not made it past the quarterfinals. In the final bracket of the week, Europe's first seed Fnatic battled it out against China's Edward Gaming. Edward Gaming started out strong, taking an early game dominance in the first round that cost Fnatic the match. But it was all Fnatic from then on, controlling all the late games and going on a 3-game win streak to knock out Edward Gaming from the finals. And we now have 2 European, 1 North American, and 1 Chinese team fighting it out for an unprecedented League of Legends World Semifinals. We'll make sure to cover it all next week here on Esports Update. But until then, we'll be jumping straight over to week 13 of Rainbow Six's 8th Pro League season, where teams are fighting it out for the top 2 spots in the region to make the finals in Rio de Janeiro. We are in the last 2 weeks of the season, and the teams are not only fighting for 1st and 2nd place in the regions, but they are also trying to stay away from the dreaded 8th place finish, where that team will be auto-regulated to the Challenger League. Cloud9 capitalized on the space given by Noble and took the first win of the day against Noble Esports, safely securing them in the 6th spot and away from regulation. Mousesports takes the win over Space Station, just dominating the second half, only dropping 1 round. This destroyed any hopes that Space Station Gaming had to make the finals. In the next match, Evil Geniuses completely dismantled SK Gaming's offense. Their strong defensive rotations gave them the defensive sweep and the win against SK Gaming. Rogue needed the win against Obey to keep their hopes alive for Rio, and their studying and planning paid off, beating Obey 6-3. Rogue now has a chance to take the 2nd place if they are able to beat SK Gaming in their match next week. On the European side, Week 13 had some of the best games yet this season. G2 started the day in 1st place with an undefeated season, which left Team Secret, Maki Esports, and Millennium duking it out for the second place spot. Millennium and Chaos played the first match. Millennium's player Aces came in strong with 14 kills. With some of the best teamwork we've seen yet from this team, Millennium pushed for the win over Chaos. Panta Esports took the upset against G2, being the first team to beat G2 yet this season. And Supremacy was able to take the one and only win this season against Team Vitality. Supremacy unfortunately doesn't have a chance to get out of the auto-regulation spot, but this game secured Vitality's 7th place position. The last match had both Maki and Team Secret playing at their absolute best, battling it out for that 2nd place spot. The game was back and forth with Maki's Baka coming in with the impact kill to set him on match point, where it was Secret's Meepy that came in clutch on the 10th round to bring the game to a draw. And all 3 teams will yet again be battling it out next week for that 2nd place spot. And it's week 5 in Fortnite's Fall Skirmish. Here, 500 pros and community players have been separated into 5 clubs and are battling it out each week for individual prize money and club points. Each week's format is a little bit different, and this week was the Royal Flush format, where the duo with the most points after 6 games in their region win. Points were given for elimination bonuses and top 10 finishes. In the European region, Tixi and Kingsar set the precedent by taking 11 eliminations in the first round to get the bonus, but were soon shot down at the finish with a close-range double barrel from Camo. Boyer and Siba came in 3rd for the day, consistently placing in the top 10. They would have gotten the 2nd overall, but Boyer ran out of materials and couldn't secure 1st place in Game 4. Kingwin's Heisel and Tyoski started the day in 1st place after starting in the top 5 in the first game and 7 eliminations in the second game. They seem to have pulled back on the last few games, and it was Madsen and Blacksow who would capitalize this to take the 1st place spot after getting 11 kills in 2nd place on the last game. The North American games went far more passively, with most duos seemingly going for the game wins instead of the elimination bonus. A third of the games ended in a heel-off in the Storm. Nate Hill and Symphony had amazing coordinated play throughout the series, taking a 2nd game win but ultimately took 4th, after being crushed in the 5th game by Poach, who fell from above and delivered 2 perfect double-barrel shots. Anthony and Emad popped in the 3rd place after winning Game 6. Tenpo and J-Mock took the 1st place game and kept their point lead to set them in 2nd place. And it was 72 Hours and Chap who took the 1st place spot for the week, winning the 4th game and getting the elimination bonus and also placing 2nd and 5th in other games of the series. Duos who place top 10 will add their points to their respective clubs, and club standings will remain the same this week. We got Bush Bandits coming in 1st at 3,700 points, Fortnites in 2nd, Dusty Dogs in 3rd, and Rift Raiders and Lucky Llamas following right behind. Next week will be the final week in the Fall Skirmish, which will be played at LAN at TwitchCon. And that wraps us up for this week's eSport update. If you enjoyed the show, please like and subscribe. If you have any suggestions for what you would like to see covered in the future episodes, please let us know. You can find us on Twitch, YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, all the social medias. But until then, I'm Mike Kersey. Have a good week.